Hello, and welcome to the Baltic Football Podcast. We're here with three specialists from every single country, and we can't wait to talk about what's happened in Europe so far, what their thoughts are, and the general overview, whether it's been good, maybe if you're Lithuanian, not so good if you're in Latvia, or absolutely awful if you're in Estonia. But we're here to talk about it today. So firstly, guys, BalticFootballNews.com, you've been covering all the games. How have you found the qualifiers so far? Janis?
Hello everyone. I find it a bit fascinating because everyone talks about the Latvian 12 wins in first 2.5 rounds. So that's good, but at the end, it all that matters is making into the autumn. So now just one club for Latvia is there, no clubs for Estonia, and one club for Lithuania. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts about it from the start. I think Morten's probably thoughts about it is not so good, especially yesterday after the one of the darkest day in Estonian club football.
I
So
might have been a
yeah.
bit harsh. It's not all doom and gloom in Estonian football, but Morten, what are your thoughts on both? And Janis, you didn't finish Lithuania as well, but Morten, let's hear from you.
The summer overall, to be fair, was actually quite good. I think it's the second best summer in terms of coefficient points ever for Estonia, with the first place obviously being the 2021-22 season when Flora made it to the conference group stage. But obviously there were some rough bits, there were some good bits. Kalju managing to at least grab some coefficient points from a tie that was done and dusted. And yeah,
It has been very good for coefficient points and Baltic clubs in terms of data rating. Latvia highest ranked, most wins, 12 wins, and also they're ranking just in the top six at the moment for European results. Titas, you've finally got a team in Europe. How are you feeling?
Yeah, that's truly amazing. Hello, everyone. Um, yeah, I mostly agree with Yanis with the fact that it's pretty impressive to see the number of wins and the whole performance of the Latvian clubs this summer compared to other European teams. But yeah, as we all know, the at the end of the day, the most important is to make it through. And now we just have one Latvian club left, and we hope for that Riga FC will make it to the Conference League. But yeah, for Lithuanian football, you cannot call this a bad summer since you have the second club in Lithuanian history to make it through European football competition. So obviously, you have some good results, you had some bad results, but at the end of the day, for Lithuanian football, it's been a great summer, I would say.
Yeah, it has indeed. So, Yanis, let's talk about last night. Auda, 4-0 defeat away in Albania. RFS, not a good home performance. Pretty disappointing. What's your take? Obviously, Riga FC, dominant, really good performance, totally different story. But what's your take on it all?
So Auda, I'm not a bit surprised about that because I did ask. I remember I asked last week after the game, the coach, was he disappointed that they did not take advantage more about scoring? Maybe even they were man up because Dinamo City got a red and they had chances to score more goals. Was he disappointed that he did not take advantage? Because going to Albania 1-0 or 2-0 is real big difference. So, and he told me that he was not disappointed about it, which to me was a bit strange, but he
But
has
yeah,
his
4-0.
reasonings about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, last night I haven't yet watched the game, but from what I heard, that pretty much the Dinamo City played really good game, especially defensively. They had their game plan. The Edvards Dashkevich, the leader of Auda team, was pretty much when he received the ball, 3 or 4 Albanian guys were running to him, disposing him of the ball, and on all the counter attacks they pretty much scored a goal. So it was not a big surprise. But also you cannot go to the Albania expect to hold on to a 1-0 lead on the first tie with only 2 shots on target.
Do you feel this was now the total crash and burn? Too much hype and they burnt out.
No,
They couldn't do
no,
enough,
I
or
think
tactically, or they didn't have enough players. Like what went wrong for Auda? Just a quick, off your was the squad
obviously
not?
no.
What's your why did it 4-0's a big defeat away?
Obviously, Vergara is pretty big guy to lose, and also Melniks and back end. You have some younger. You have Kragliks who doesn't have experience playing in Versliga, a lot of experience, and Hudrago who makes a lot of mistakes. So yeah, they lost some key players, very big key players for them who
To
were
squad.
success this season. Yeah, but also the way they did overachieve, let's say, in Europe, the
Okay.
Bucharest side.
But
So
they had the
yeah,
players capable. They had this. There's no team like that in the
yeah,
Baltic
Zanetti is good coach.
Yeah.
He
But
puts
then
in a
they're
lot
one
of.
tactic team as well, and that's just frustrating.
But still, that did work in Bucharest. It did not work this time in Albania.
Yeah,
So
fresher legs, maybe we're not big enough squad depth. Okay, RFS, you know,
our
mistakes, errors, defensive, what went wrong there? Are they good
uh,
enough for Europe? Is the squad good enough? What went wrong?
you can sit here and blame Matrevic pretty much. No, you cannot. You can't. Could come here, sit here, and blame Matrevic for his first goal.
Yeah,
But overall, uh, I don't blame him because
they
he
had a
comes
good
in.
run though. RFS had a
The
good run up to this point.
No, they did not have good run, in my opinion, because the Northern Ireland side they should have won. They did beat them. They draw against Icelandic second
Okay,
division side away.
okay. I guess we've got to move on to
So
the other countries. So what went wrong for RFS?
um, I think their key players are just not what they were 2 years ago, and it was seen last year. Obviously, not
And the
comparable
new
thing.
players haven't adapted enough.
Yeah, also the new, for example, one of the team leaders who should be Lasho Disharia, except from some crosses coming in, it was pretty much
Are
non-existing
the new
last night.
players good enough, do you think?
You haven't seen them. You haven't
Yeah.
seen them a lot. Maybe they should have integrated them. They signed them earlier in the summer and
Yeah.
integrated them. But
The
the one thing.
transitional attacking play was exceptionally disappointing yesterday.
But one question remains is the goalkeeping situation to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Even though Matrevic did make mistakes, uh, he had mistake on the first goal. I don't know, last week in the first goal, maybe he could do something much better, but there were some other individual mistakes. But that's not easy when you are prepared to sit on the bench and you pretty much sit there. You are warming up and your
yeah,
first
yeah.
goalkeeper gets injured and you are just drawing inside to play the game. So that's not easy, obviously. But the goalkeeping situation overall is a question mark. To me,
Yeah,
it's mind-boggling. You signed Maric last season, who is pretty much not good.
yeah, middle
You
road.
felt like you people around fans or everyone felt like they run Andorra out of the club because he was too short. He had some mistakes, but 2 years
I
ago
mean,
in
he was a
the
great keeper.
but in the,
He was
but in
like
the,
he was like Man United losing Schmeichel.
but
Like that they've not replaced him yet
But
as a
but
goalkeeper.
2 years ago he made fantastic saves against Apoel, against Ajax, against
Yeah, yeah,
Galatasaray.
yeah,
In those games, he
exactly.
made
Yeah,
good
yeah.
mistakes,
I
and
know. Yeah,
you pretty much ran him out of the city.
yeah.
It felt
Okay.
like
Yeah.
from the not knowing what
Okay.
inside happened.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough.
But to continue about the goalkeeping situation, you signed Maric, who is not good. You signed in the summer at the start of summer Matrovic, who comes in and he's injured, so he cannot play. He comes in, he makes in his first game mistake, and he comes in and he's not playable. You play Nerugals, who is experienced goalkeeper, but to me he's not European.
Yeah.
But sorry, about what I wanted, what was my point is, you have in your system a lot of goalkeepers. You have Janis Beks, who is in Daugavpils doing well. He had experience, European experience last year with Daugavpils against Latvian, and you just maybe you can call up him back to the team for that time, knowing that Matrovic has injury.
Okay, I think you get your point.
But no, just let me finish my point. First of all, I'm on a little rant about here.
Right, but we got two other countries to factor in as well.
No, all good. I'm gonna be quick with it. If you want to play him, the deadline then for Latvian football is today, which is Friday. We are recording it on Friday, the 14th. If you get eliminated from Europe, send him then on loan to Daugavpils. The goalkeeping situation is, to me.
Yeah, but do you experience versus youth? There's risk associated to that, and we can go on to the goalkeeper.
Okay, yeah, but
RFS going out. The reason was the goalkeeper and players not coming in fast enough. Youth players coming into the squad fast enough.
No. The main reason, because they lost, in my opinion, is they run in the hot team, which is Jablonec. They have won all the league games to start the season. They have won 3 out of 4 European games. But let's not, and also they did not come out last night with urgency from the start.
Okay.
We saw that urgency when their ass was on fire.
My only question, very fast, because we're going to move on to Titas. What's the reason why RFS went out? Unluckiness or problems elsewhere?
Everything. You take everything by.
Titas.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Janis. Titas, in terms of Vilnius Žalgiris, pretty disastrous result. The Lithuanian clubs clearly a long way behind the Croatian league. Hell of a lot of work to do. Kauno have to somehow get a squad ready for European football. Wasn't the most convincing round for any Lithuanian club. How did you see it? What's everybody saying in Lithuania, and what needs to happen for Kaunas to actually be able to compete?
Yeah, I mean, you're asking what does Kaunas need to actually compete? I mean,
what went wrong in Croatia for the 2 Lithuanian teams, and for Kaunas to be able to get results against teams like Zagreb? What do they need to do? What's your take on everything?
What went wrong? I mean, it's not a secret. It's something we already know, we saw. And although before both of the games, like the first leg and the second leg of Kaunas, it was pretty clear that, I mean, the opponent of Kauno Žalgiris, I mean, they were stronger and they were on a completely different level on the paper. I mean, I would still say that the outcome is still disappointing for Kaunas. Obviously, seeing a 5-0 defeat in the first leg is never a good thing. But I guess that it's simply the reality at the moment. Croatian football is way ahead completely compared to Lithuania, and Dinamo Zagreb is just a team that's simply on another level, especially compared to the 2 teams that Kauno Žalgiris faced earlier in the Champions League qualifiers this season. First of all, they faced Drita of Kosovo, and then Klaksvik of Faroe Islands. Those teams are pretty much on the same level that Kauno Žalgiris, and Dinamo Zagreb is just way ahead. I mean, of course, the job was already done in Jonava against Klaksvik because Kaunas side made history by securing European football, but still losing the tie 7-1 on aggregate is a pretty rough result. And yeah, as I said, I mean, it just highlights the gap between the level of football in Lithuania.
Okay. I'll just counter that. I'll counter that because RFS have been in the Conference Cup before, and they have been in the Europa League before. And people will go away and look at the VS League and say, "Oh yeah, it's it doesn't compare to the Eredivisie with Ajax and so on, and the Belgium league, or whatever." So my point is that what do Lithuanian teams have to in order to get in the mindset that they can get to this level? Like, do you feel they can do what RFS have done in previous seasons in Europe, or what will it take for them to get there?
I mean, honestly, it's very hard to say what RFS did is amazing, like to qualify to Europa League. We don't see this every year in Baltic football. And I mean, the only thing that's realistically, I think, Kauno Žalgiris or Žalgiris Vilnius need is just time. You know, both of these clubs are very ambitious. They have very good. I mean, I would say Kaunas have good infrastructure, but both of these clubs have a great management. And if they keep up like with this same ideology, I think in the 3 or 5 years to come, they can compete against much stronger teams that they are competing against
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I would not say that there's a secret or a thing that
But
nobody needs.
yeah,
It's just time, you know.
do you feel they lost because of tactics, because there aren't enough players, squad depth? I mean, I remember when Kaunas played RFS in the, or was it Vilnius, played a friendly in pre-season, and the manager said the squad depth is just so much more with RFS.
Vilnius played. Vilnius played. Yeah, Vilnius.
But is it squad depth, or Yanni? Maybe you've got some thoughts.
But let me just. I will quote what Sopic said. He was asked after the game, what is the difference between Dinamo Zagreb and Besiktas? And Sopic said, the Kauno manager said, the difference is they can sign Leandro Trossard from Arsenal, but Dinamo Zagreb can't. So that's the main difference. You can have all the chemistry, all the tactics put through, just worked in, like you play like one team. But if you have the financial capabilities to bring some kind of players like who are not the level of Dinamo Zagreb, what you want?
Yeah.
And I will disagree
depends.
I will
Qualify.
Sorry. I will disagree with your point that RFS is some kind of the thing to watch to reach,
to watch,
because
that wasn't my point.
No, to reach that Europa League run.
Yeah.
Let's remember Vilnius Žalgiris just 3 years ago beat Malmo in both matches. They drew against Galatasaray. They drew against Bodo Glimt. RFS did not do that. So in Europe, that's all in Europe. So my point is, it just comes from year to year. Maybe Kauno Žalgiris will reach they will play in the Conference League. Kauno Žalgiris, yeah, they will play in the Conference League, and they will play against Brighton, for example. They are drawn, and they get the point there. So what we are going to talk then?
Yeah. That's
Latvian.
my point. Is there self-belief, and what do the squads need to do to get there?
They're
already they can get a point.
To me, it's just to these kind of clubs which are from the Baltics. It's all about the luck. It's all about the luck. It's nothing to do with what the squad is looking like, because I don't know. So yeah, that's point from my point of view.
I think there's been plenty of clubs across Europe that have had good European runs from many different styles and approaches. Whether it's a young team, whether it's a team more focused on physical football or so on. I'm not sure if anybody else has got anything to say on team success. And is it luck? Obviously, luck plays a part, but can there be more preparation, strategy, Titas?
I would mostly agree. I mean, you cannot compete with a club. I mean, you can compete, but you cannot compete on a lot of games. You can win, you can draw in one game, but the reality is, like, the budget of Dinamo Zagreb or Besiktas is completely different from Kauno Žalgiris. I mean, I just looked up the market value of Besiktas on Transfermarkt, and although it may not perhaps reflect the reality, I don't know yet, but the value is impressive. I mean, it's 237 million euros, while Kauno Žalgiris is 9 and Dinamo Zagreb is 60. So Kaunas already lost 1-7 to Dinamo Zagreb, and if we see the value of a club like Besiktas, what do we have to expect? And yeah, I mean, I would mostly agree that it's luck, and if a club like this plays on home and away on 2 games, it's almost impossible to achieve a positive result.
Okay. So we're going to the conclusion: less is more money. Then Kaunas just need luck to do more. I'd like to think that Kaunas need to get a slightly younger squad, and ensure that they're tactically astute for being able to sit back and also change tactically throughout games, and if they have a big enough squad. But yeah, Morten, it's been a challenging moment, but as you said, Estonian football hasn't done necessarily so bad when it comes to coefficient points. They did win a few games, but all the clubs have gone out. What's your overall take then? And when you look for next year's qualifiers, what are you hoping for, and what can be learned from this?
My take on the summary is that yeah, it did go quite well. Levadia obviously losing to Göteborg in extra time, while winning the first leg even, but it was the 92nd minute goal back from Göteborg that pretty much ruined it all. And
So overall, in terms of how the teams played and the players, do you think it was to a better standard than last season?
definitely.
What was better about it, do you think?
Our clubs got more wins, got further into the competitions, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Do you feel
Yeah,
yeah,
I will agree with that, because the main task was they were in catastrophic situation before the Euro, because they needed quite a lot of points to secure that place in the top 50, which would give them the fourth spot, the remain with the fourth spot. And I think they still can. Go down further to finish in top 51 after a season outside the top 50, but I think they have enough margin right now. So that was the main thing for them, Estonia.
Yeah, if I quickly interrupt, if I remember correctly, it's down to the Lincoln Red Imps versus Larne fixture.
Okay, yeah, they are playing against each other, because I did remember there were still two teams who are under top 50 who can reach. So yeah, that's okay. That's pretty much guarantees that they are safe there. But about Estonia, yeah, pretty good summer.
but
Might be
yeah,
might be a bit, let's say, Flora. Flora is a bit
Flora,
of
yeah, that Flora was
that's
the biggest disappointment, I think.
obviously really bad disappointment, to be honest, because I was watching that match last night, and not last night, it was evening, and I was watching that match, and I was surprised that they allowed goal. They had their first
And
chance.
just for our listeners, Flora were playing against a Andorran team, Inter
The
Estonia.
Escaldes,
Yeah,
Inter the Escaldes, and they lost 0-2 in the first leg in Andorra, in which they pretty much, in the first half and in the first around 60 minutes, the Estonian side didn't do pretty much nothing. They woke up a bit later. But last night it was, oh geez, it was, I don't
It
know
was a horrible watch.
yeah, what is the for what have you heard in media, especially Estonian? There were any comments from Vasiljev after the game, because he told before the game that he said that we have the confidence, and we think we have the skill to beat them, but seeing this and seeing how Sapinen, obviously you can score the goals in Estonian league, but I think he had quite disappointing Europe, and I don't know.
Yeah,
What
Sapinen is goalless in the last 9 games,
so yeah,
something like that.
yeah. So but overall, were there any reactions from in Estonia about this defeat? As you said that it was the darkest day in Estonian club football.
Yeah, as there is this forum thing named Tribune, where there is also a match day. There was also a match day chat for the game, and safe to say things got a bit lively there.
I mean, losing to an Andorran league club is
But
it's
still,
just not
you
acceptable.
can. But no. Losing to Andorran side is not, in my opinion, losing to Andorran side is not like bad, like really bad. But the most disappointing stuff is the result in on aggregate, is the 6-0 defeat, and it begs to the question we have heard here in Latvia how. Oh, we want to see Latvian players play. 11 Latvian players in Europe, 11 players for teams. Oh, there's the too many foreigners. Now the question begs, does this work for them?
Yeah, that topic has also come up over the last over this summer, and yeah, Flora obviously have the, shall we say, obsession to play with Estonian players, and just like, in my opinion, just get a few foreign players who are like competitive, who are actually like who will improve the team.
And it also helps in the trainings. It helps to raise the level of Estonian players because, in my opinion, the foreign players are good. They are coming here. They are helping the club. In my opinion,
You can say that, but then Estonia does have the best national team across the Baltics, and they have.
but where they play, where all the players play for them, they are playing in European leagues. Pretty much.
So something's working there in terms of player development, and we've got some kind of formula there.
Yeah, the player development works. Their youngsters are heading to Europe, and they are showing they are playing well there. But also, Flora has some young players on their squad who I think could play in some European leagues. But get some. I don't know. I don't think so. I think this was the best opportunity for them.
Yeah, I agree on that.
In some years, obviously.
Yeah, I remember when the draw took place for the round just gone. So Sokarnet's title was something along the lines of Flora had a good draw, whilst Kalju would get Ajax, and Levadia would have a possible matchup with Ghent.
And how do the fans feel as well? How do the Flora fans feel? What's do they want? Are they happy with the current system, or would they like more foreign players or international players?
From what I've heard, no.
They want to stay the same. Yeah.
So that's the club's mentality.
Yeah, that is. But obviously, maybe you could bring. Obviously, okay. Safe to say, there are some Estonian players who are not playing in Europe right now. For example, maybe bring Tom back, who is playing. Who I don't know if he's playing anymore in Ljubljana. Who did well in Kauno.
He's injured.
He's injured, but
I think he's still in their roster.
Yeah. Okay. So, but there, yeah, but just maybe because
also Tam would never play for Flora, since he's a Kalju Academy graduate, and
they never. That's just not happening.
That
even
would
with
never
the money
happen.
Even with the money coming in.
Most certainly not.
Okay. So yeah, but I think also the Flora Estonian players, they have quite a few experienced players, and feels like their experienced players are not on that level what they were a few years back.
One other question.
The best example, I'll quickly finish. The best example of this is Rauno Zappinen. who went to Israel a few years back, then got a really nasty knee injury with his ACL, MCL, and meniscus all broken pretty much. And he's not the same player since. Speed is gone. And yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but
yeah, once again, not a good enough balance of players and squad depth possibly. But we need to move on. But I want to touch on Levadia. But firstly, if you are listening, please do remember to visit BalticFootballNews.com, subscribe, and of course keep up the conversation on X, Instagram, or even TikTok. But let's move on to Levadia super quick. Tough opposition. Were fans more proud of that performance, or still Rapid Vienna 6-1? No, that was Paide, sorry. But Paide played last night.
yeah,
Wednesday.
Wednesday. They played on Wednesday.
So Paide 6-1. They lost to Rapid Vienna. Were people happy with Paide and Levadia overall?
Yeah, Paide managed to get to the third round, and yeah, they really weren't expected to beat Shira, or however you pronounce
Yeah,
the club's name.
Zira from Azerbaijan.
And yeah, it's been similar for them for the past few years now. When they get to round 3, they get a tough opponent. Okay, last year they played AIK Stockholm of Sweden in the second round.
No, yeah, in the second round, yeah.
But yeah, Paide usually turn into a completely different team in Europe, which if they somehow played the same in the Estonian league, they should probably have won the league by now already, but they're just not up for it. Only the young foreigners who want to get a move out, they want to play, they want to do the statistics, but when you have your Aniers, your Millers, your old Estonian players, you're not gonna win the league with them. Let's be real.
Yeah,
They're just there to get the cash.
Okay. Yeah, especially in European competitions where there's a lot of high energy and there's a lot of intensive games as well. Okay, so we're gonna
yeah, about
Final point,
Paide,
Janis.
about Paide, I think they again did overall overachieved, and I was in Rapid Vienna game. I was watching them, and from both teams who played against the Baltic side from Vienna, Rapid Vienna and Austria Vienna, I think Rapid were much better side and deservingly.
And
I think the result reflects on their strength, because I was not surprised by the result. Paide did do well pretty much in the first game,
one
but
quick point, because we do have to bring Titas back in a little bit and talk about Lithuanian football. But you saw Levadia in Austria. How would you compare Levapia's performance compared to the Estonian Paide club?
I would compare that Levadia could have managed to get something out of the matches.
Okay.
But they shot themselves on the foot. So yeah, and if I could say, if Levadia would have played Austria Wien or Rapid Wien, no, for example, they could get, I think, some kind of a result from Austria Wien in one of the matches. But from Rapid Wien, I think no. So that answers the questions that you asked.
Yeah. That moves us nicely on to overall player performance, tactics. What stood out for you? Which games have stood out for you over these qualifying campaigns? Which players? Are there any players that have really, been committed to the cause, to the mission? Titas, what are your thoughts from Lithuanian football?
Well, I mean, honestly, there's not a single doubt. If you ask me about the game that stood out the most in Lithuanian football this summer in Europe, obviously it's the 7-2 win from Žalgiris Vilnius. To see such a game live, it was honestly exceptional. And I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a fan of the team or no. For Lithuanian football history, it was an amazing comeback. It's probably the most, I mean, probably the best comeback I've ever seen in the Lithuanian football history. And yeah, I mean, the whole game was exceptional, knowing that at halftime the result was 1-1 and that they lost 3-0 on the first leg, and finally it ended up by being like a 7-2. So yeah, it was totally exceptional. It's besides obviously the fact that Žalgiris Kaunas managed to qualify to the Conference League, the most entertaining game was definitely this one against Dinamo Tbilisi in Vilnius.
And what stood out like tactically? Was it just the player determination? Were the defense? I mean, what made them win that game, do you think? Like, was there a specific player that came on and just did really good things, or did the manager set the players out well on the pitch? What were the defining reasons
I mean,
behind that?
tactically, it was just the whole performance of the player, of the 11 players on the pitch. For me, it's impossible to think of a single player who made it possible, like for the win. As I said, at halftime it was 1-1, so just to score 6 goals in such an important, I mean, important in such a crazy game where I mean, those 6 goals are basically thanks to them, you qualify to the third round. It's just, yeah, to answer to your question, I think it's the whole determination, the motivation. And even though, like, they still managed to score Dinamo Tbilisi and to make it 3-2, and in the 61st minute, I think, and at that moment, you think, oh, yeah, I mean, it's probably the end. What else can you do? No, I mean, that's not what Žalgiris players were thinking. They were only thinking about the next goal, which they scored 2 minutes after that, and they scored like 3 goals more
Total gung-ho approach.
additionally, and yeah,
Yeah.
after the fourth goal. So just motivation, the determination, and the whole
And
uh,
some good
yeah,
finishing, which was a big problem
yeah, obviously good
for,
finishing as
for some of
well.
the teams yesterday. Yanis, what's your overall thoughts? Who's impressed you tactically, and which players stood out for you, whether in Lithuania, Estonia, or Latvia?
I don't know about tactically if someone did impress me or something like that. I would say from the games, from the game structures, how played, I really was impressed with Riga last night, especially in the second half. I think it was uh, one of the first, I don't know what game comes to mind. Maybe even RFS beat the Hungarian side. What was it? It was Puskás Academia. It was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when they played really good away game. But this domination from Riga last
Yeah.
night, and
And the
uh,
subs played such a role there with the determination, the
yeah,
hunger,
yeah,
they
and
wanted it,
yeah,
and they kept going and they kept getting the
and
balls
they
into the
did,
box.
and they did it all without one of their, I think, in my opinion, one of their main players, the guy, Orlando Gallo, the Costa Rican international. They did it without
Yeah,
him, who
yeah,
was on
fair
the bench,
point.
who's I probably injured, something he
Or it's
did
his birthday
suffer.
in the week, you never know.
No,
No,
he
no, I'm
would
kidding.
play,
Yeah.
but yeah, the dominance last night, and to be honest, I did not had a good feeling about the Latvian clubs last night. Before the matches, I knew I had inside the feeling that RFS will not come back.
I mean, they
Auda
just
is
had to
doing good.
outsmart a very physical team and they failed
Yeah,
to do that.
but yeah, okay. We if we go back to the what impressed me the most, yeah, the most I don't know, the most dominant away game for Latvian club against that stature of opponent. Okay, you can tell it's not Ferencváros. It is Hungarian champion, but it's not Ferencváros. It's
Yeah.
your team. Okay, you could tell they are not the same team which won the title because they lost like 4 or 5 key players. They have quite a few players injured. They bring in a coach who is Mexican coach who is getting his
Okay, but
first
we're talking
European
about
experience.
we want
But no,
to
but yeah,
tactics and players. Yeah.
all that we cannot. It's still the Hungarian champions, and the domination in the second half
Okay, yeah.
was impressive to me. And yeah, but other
But
result.
was that down to the player tactics? Was it down to the players themselves, or was it just a good blend
Yeah,
of
I think
management and player
no,
mentality?
it is the Gullia's tactic. It is
Okay.
just go relentlessly on attack, just press attack, crosses in.
But you can't do that against the bigger teams.
Uh, if you have the physical to do it, I don't I don't know if you can do that kind of a tempo for like Riga did not look good in the first half. Let's say they had like two chances.
They controlled it for 80 minutes probably, and they
Yeah,
should
but in the second half they did came out
they could have
like at all.
conceded.
But yeah, overall about to me, I still think that yeah, we could talk about overall about Baltics, what the
Yeah.
results. To me, you can talk about the Žalgiris comeback. You can talk about Vilnius Žalgiris comeback. You can talk about Kauno Žalgiris making the league, Auda winning this against Jau. But to me, the impressive was the Paide against Zira and Göteborg against Levadia, winning in Sweden. Obviously, you can see the Göteborg situation. They are down in the table in Sweden, but that's still a big club.
They changed
And
the manager. They fired their manager straight after
yeah,
that game. So.
and I think yeah, and I think Morten would agree that those two, not okay, Paide did not win, but it is very tough to go to Azerbaijan and they pump the money in the clubs, and Paide doesn't have that much of money. But I think Morten would agree that those two results are like the biggest results for. Obviously, Levadia, it didn't go to the Levadia that winning the tie, but yeah, overall that they win that's the biggest results in Estonian clubs for like 3-4 years.
Morten, so I mean that was an incredible result. Paide, were they the most impressive team tactically for you? And what player was the which players were impressed you?
Tactically, I think yes. The player who impressed me the most. Do you mean Paide or do you mean
just overall the whole European qualifiers? You can
overall?
even say Lithuanian club if you want.
I would say actually I liked Alexander Musolitin of Nõmme Kalju.
Yeah, the Ukrainian guy was pretty good. He did well for it. I think
why did he impress you?
He scored the goal to send pretty much sent Kalju. Okay, no, he didn't score that goal. Wait. He scored a penalty in the Linfield game, and
he stepped up to the moment.
Yeah, obviously he did get a red card in the Sherborne game.
Yeah.
But overall he's been really good in the
mistakes and red cards. Yeah.
Which shouldn't have been a red card, but since there's no VAR, then.
And your Estonian team for this qualification, would you say Paide were the best, or Cali? Which was the one team that stood out for you?
Paide.
Okay. Titas then, big. I mean, firstly, congratulations. We've not really no one's congratulated Lithuania for getting into a club tournament. But Titas, Kauno, best team. I mean, the other teams have slumped. We didn't do the best, but yeah, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree that Kaunas has been the best team. There's no much surprise. They have become the fifth club in Baltic football history to qualify to a European tournament, if I'm not mistaken. And the second one in Lithuanian history after Žalgiris Vilnius in 2022. So once you do something like that, obviously you cannot say anything else. It has been the best club in Europe this summer. Even though they lost to Dinamo Zagreb, but again, it's a team on another level. Now they'll face Besiktas, and there's not much hope here either. But at least they have qualify to Europa Conference League. And for the other teams, Žalgiris, Vilnius, the outcome is pretty solid, I would say. They made it to the third round. Again, Hajduk expected a better opponent. And the other two, Hegelman, very disappointing. And Panevėžys, probably a lack of luck in the second qualifying round where they lost in the penalties against Tobol from Kazakhstan. So yeah, Žalgiris Kauno is definitely the best side. Žalgiris Vilnius is good as well, and the other two teams pretty disappointing. But it highlights also the level that they have been showing this season in the top league.
Awesome. So I guess we're coming to an end. Back to the domestic leagues again,
but still the fourth round.
Still the fourth round as well. Riga
playoff round
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Riga today will. Riga will today learn their opponents. It will be with either Lech Poznan or Klaksvik from Faroe Island, who did the last two Kauno Žalgiris. So Poznan beat 1-0, and when the podcast is out, we will probably know who they will face. So
against the Faroe Islands,
we never know what happens in Faroe Islands.
We've got to wrap up. We've got to wrap up, but we've got a whole, everything else is going on BalticFootballNews.com. We've got the domestic league, we've got the cup leagues. Final one quick liner from each person. What do you, other than European football, which is amazing and the atmosphere is amazing and the whole, evening experience has been fantastic. But there's so much more to look forward to in Baltic football, whether it's the league, whether it's the cup, transfer windows closed. Someone's going to prompt me here on the correct one, but there's a lot to look forward to. Just one thing from each person. Janis, what are you most looking forward to coming up in football at latter end of summer?
What happens with RFS if they don't win the league?
That's what you're looking forward to and seeing.
No, that's what
you've got the Riga derby coming up. That's going to be
Riga derby is also. But if you are talking about some kind of scenarios, I would love to see what happens if RFS don't win the league this season.
What happens if RFS? Okay. Titas, what's your thoughts? What are you looking forward to? End of summer football, autumn. What's the big things?
If we're not talking about European campaigns, definitely I'm talking
domestic.
I want to talk about Top Liga because this season has been particularly intense. The gap between the first and the sixth place is extremely small, and you still cannot know who is going to become champions because not a lot of games are left, actually, pretty much 10 games for each club. And it's going to be extremely interesting to see who will become champions because none of the clubs out of those six are guaranteed to become champions.
So the dramas of the Top Sport Liga, which
okay.
is just non-stop every week. It's difficult to keep up sometimes with who's leading. And Morten, final point on Estonian football. It's all to play for. Well, not really by the looks of things. Levadia leading by quite a margin. But what are you looking forward to? Any exciting fixtures coming up?
For me, the race for the final European spot for the next season. Can Paide hold on to the fourth place in the league, or will either Vaprus, Tammeka, Harju catch up to them and clinch the fourth place in the league themselves, which should be really significant for the Estonian Cup, which would end in the next year, in the month of May next year.
Okay, so there's plenty to play for, whether it's what happens in the Yo-Yo League in Lithuania, the Latvian League, where RFS could either be in trouble or be comfortable for next season, particularly whether it's the players or the manager, or of course the fight for Europe in Estonia. But in order to keep up with it, do your best to visit www.balticfootballnews.com. Follow us on social media, follow us on X, be part of the conversation because your feedback is always fascinating. And remember to comment, like, and just keep loving football. But that's all from us. Thank you.